Hey, today we're going to talk about some of the rules of commas. So these first kind of ones are pretty easy, straightforward, as long as you're comfortable with those basics of your sentences, that subject and predicate, which we went over. So make sure that you go back to that when you need to. Never feel worried about that. All right, so let's check it out. So three things we're going to learn today is dividing between a list of three or more things, connecting full sentences with the commas and fanboys, and separating direct address and exclamations. So the first one is easy peasy. If you have three or more things in a list, whether they're items, phrases, or sentences, make sure you put how about commas between them? So here we've got I went to the store and bought milk, comma, bread, comma, coffee, comma, and tortillas. So just more than three or more things. Here, I'm doing things. So phrases. I like teaching grammar, comma, reading books, comma, and watching movies. And this last one is a whole bunch of sentences. I used to get really frustrated when using commas, comma. Then I learned the rules, comma, and now I don't worry as much at all. So you can see that one's really straightforward and simple. If you've got three or more things, it's got to be three or more, then make sure and use commas between them. Now, the comma between the last two things in a series, so this one right here between coffee and tortillas, between reading books and watching movies, between I learned the rules and now I don't worry, that one's called the Oxford comma. And it's not always required in informal writing, but in formal writing in this class, you need to make sure and use it. Now, here's why it's so important. With the Oxford comma, you could say we invited the strippers, woo, JFK and Stalin. So we've got three different groups of people. We've got strippers, we've got JFK, we've got Stalin. But if we leave this comma out, check out what happens. We invited the strippers, JFK and Stalin. And so this just renames them and it totally changes our meaning. So that's one of the reasons it's really important to think about what are your commas saying. Um, so individual items, phrase, sentences, and don't forget to use the Oxford comma in this class. One more example. I like cooking my family and pets. No, I like cooking, comma, my family, comma, and pets. Use commas. Don't be a psycho. Our next rule is another one that's pretty straightforward. Again, if you've mastered that subject and predicate, then you're saying, okay, here's one sentence, here's another. If we're hooking them up, we've got something in the middle. So if you've got a sentence, you're going to have a comma and then your fanboy and another sentence. Or just like we looked at in the previous one, it could be three or more sentences, right? And so we could have that comma and that fanboy. And so I always like to say, if you've got one full sentence over here and one full sentence over there, you got to have something in the middle. So what we're putting in the middle is that comma and then that fanboy. Let's take a look. I could have caught the ball, comma, but I was distracted. And this comma rule you check by saying, could these be two full sentences? Yeah, I could have caught the ball. I was distracted. What about this one? I wanted to stay home. Marcus wanted to go out to eat. And Chandra wanted to go swimming. I wanted to stay home. Marcus wanted to go out to eat. Chandra wanted to go swimming. Cool beans, we've got sentences. We get to drop this one because if we could say, I wanted to stay home, comma, and Marcus wanted to go eat, comma, and Chandra wanted to go swimming, and that would be fine, but it might be a little repetitive. We might want to put all those ands in if we're saying and this and that, and that's how it would sound. So remember, those kind of commas, your punctuation, that kind of thing gives it the tone. But if we just want to say, I wanted to go eat, Marcus wanted to stay home, Chandra wanted to go swimming, then we're just going to use the one and. If there is an exception, if you've got really short sentences and they're closely related, then you don't need it. We've just got a few words here, so putting a comma in there becomes weighty. The sun set and it grew cold. So that's our second rule of combining with sentences. The key thing we have to watch out for, and this is a mistake I make all the time, I'll be reading through my writing and going, no, that comma doesn't go there, is if it's not two full sentences. Generally, it happens when we're just listing two things. We don't need commas there. then sometimes we're tempted to put a comma. I wish I had a cup of coffee and a piece of homemade cake. Sometimes, right after coffee, we're tempted to put a comma in there. But when we break it down, I wish I had a cup of coffee. Cool, full sentence. A piece of homemade chocolate cake. That's not a sentence. So in that case, it's not a list of more than two things, and neither it's not sentences on both sides, so we don't need the comma. So there we go. That's our second rule. If you've got one full sentence on one side, one full one on another one, use that comma and that fanboy, or if you've got three, before that last one, use it. Now, one more thing, a few other guidelines. Here are some mistakes that were found on the internet. This first one says, fucking a dude. Oh, I almost read it the way he meant it. He's like, dude, can't believe it's taking you this long. This one says, class canceled, all day to do whatever I fucking want. I love fucking college guys. Whoa, wait, what? Man, bacon makes anything taste good, even hospital salad. Disturbing. Wake up, eat poop, school, running, work, eat poop, sleep. Seriously, dude, commas. I read that you wake up and eat poop. And my favorite, don't wear black, people. So these are mistakes that come from two different ways. One is direct address. So when you're using somebody's name, you put a comma before it or after it, as the case may be. Here, Miss Wood, comma, can you explain commas to me? Loan me some money, comma, bro. Don't wear black, comma, people. Class canceled, all day to do whatever I fucking want. I love fucking college, guys. Unless you love fucking college guys, in which case you don't want the comma there. Either way, the key thing is here is you notice all of these are kind of taking place of names. So instead of calling somebody by their name or saying everybody, they're saying guys, right? Or people or bro or Miss Wood, whatever it is. So if you put somebody's name in there and you're talking to them, you're going to separate that out with commas wherever it is. Another reason we don't want to do that is other ways to misunderstand. For example, we could be spending the day with Grandma and say, let's cook, Grandma. But if we got it wrong, we would be saying, let's cook, Grandma. No, don't cook, Grandma. There will be no cooking, Grandma, in English class. All right, the other one and last one is exclamations, and these can be kind of similar. Sometimes exclamations can come from like words we might use as in place of somebody's name, or just that kind of feeling of excitement. So, man, bacon makes anything taste good, even hospital salad. I'm much more comfortable with that statement. Fucking A, dude. There, dude is like can be, and I love dude because dude's a multi-person purpose word. Could be direct address to somebody, or can just be like dude, an expression, right? Whoa, we're almost done. And in each of these cases, man, comma, fucking A, comma, whoa, comma, we've got that comma. We could use an exclamation point if we're being like really excited. Okay, so those two things, and think of those are what we'll talk about next time, is some extra information, and they're just kind of a little different kind of extra information. So what have we gone over? If you have a list of 3 or more things, then put commas between them. You can connect your full sentences with the commas and the fanboys. Just remember that comma's not strong enough to hook up whole sentences, so we're using those fanboys with it. And we can separate out direct address and exclamations. I always want to say explanations, not quite. So remember, review those. Those are in when you check out your writer's reference. Remember, finding things through the tabs is easier. And here's the P for punctuation chapter, and we've got the comma rules. So check that out. Read it there. Read it in Writing Down the Basics. Read a little more about it on the web, on the Purdue OWL, whatever you're comfortable with. If this is kind of foggy. And then remember, we practice. You're not expected to be perfect at it because it takes practice. Writing is a skill, and that just takes time. All right, well, that's enough of that. Take care. Let me know if you have questions, and we will see you later.